I want to tell you a little bit about the American dream. Kimmy Candy started in a farm in Sacramento, California in 2000. And it was started on a ranch where I had no idea that I was ever going to be in the candy business. It started with the purchase of a 40,000 pound container of candy-coated chocolate-covered sunflower kernels. Did I have any idea that it would turn into a candy manufacturing company that sold all across the United States? No. But I think that if you have enough passion and enough grit, you can do anything in the United States. And I believe I am an example of that passion and the American dream. Kimmy Candy started in Sacramento, California on the ranch, but its name came from a bar in Sacramento where a bunch of my friends said, "Hey, you're selling candy. What are you going to name the candy company?" And I said, "I'm going to call it Gimme Candy Company." One of the people at the bar that night, a woman named Kim, who had been involved in the purchase of the first container of candy-coated chocolate-covered sunflower kernels, said, "Hey, you name everything after your friends and family. Why didn't you name the candy company after me?" I was going to call it Gimme Candy. Her name was Kim. All of a sudden, after a couple of martinis, cha-ching, and it's Kimmy Candy Company. That name kind of stuck. And over the years, you've had lots of opportunities to change it, but I think the story kind of depicts what people do in the United States is like, they say, life is easy, life is great, and I'm just going to keep that name. So our production was in Busan, Korea, where the first candy was actually made. And that facility in Busan was actually run by our candy maker that we have now at Kimmy here in Reno. And I decided in 2004 that I wasn't going to create jobs in Korea, I was going to create jobs in America. So I started to look at moving the factory back to the United States. Coming out of Sacramento, I decided Reno was the place to be. And so I moved up here in 2005. I bought a building in 2006. And we started building out the factory in 2007. We moved all our production from Korea to Reno in 2008. And it's been our home ever since. We've outgrown the first factory, and now we're in the second, which is about 3 times the size of our first. And we've been fortunate to be in a great community of Reno. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our Sunburst, our candy-coated chocolate-covered sunflower kernels. Originally, we had our own proprietary chocolate we produced everything on. It was designed by Blummer Chocolate in those days. It's been copied by Barry Callebaut. And now we have this wonderful product line that we sell nationally. Sunburst started out with Ohio Lake sunflower kernels. We roast them in small batch roasting so that we ensure that all the kernels are completely roasted. From the roasting process, we move the kernels into the spray room. This is where we spray chocolate onto the sunflower kernels in ratios that are different for each product, but for the Sunburst, it's probably about a 3-to-1 ratio of chocolate to the sunflower kernel. Although we're doing some new products now that are 1-to-1 ratios that are even better. From the spray room, the outside of the kernels are all bumpy because when you're spraying atomized chocolate on there, you get a very bumpy outside coat. So we have to smooth that off before we put the sugar shell on. So then it goes to the smoothing room where they're like rock polishers. And those rock polishers, we roll the candy around in there for about 40 minutes and it smooths the outside of the chocolate so it's exactly the right smoothness for putting on the candy shell. From that process, we take it over to the resting room because everybody needs a rest, right? But in this resting room, and that's where all our candy equalizes in temperature and humidity so that when we put the sugar shell on that'll encapsulate the centers, it won't crack the shells. Those products can sit in the resting room from anywhere from 8 to 48 hours. From that process, we go into the sugar panning rooms. And in the sugar panning room, each one of our pans makes about 300 to 310 pounds of finished product. They'll load into those pans about 290, 260 pounds of chocolate-covered sunflower kernels. And what we do is we start to put layer after layer of thin sugar shell, and it also develops the colors. So what happens is they have a process where every 20 minutes, they're adding 1 liter into each pan. And that liter tends to dry over about a 20-minute period, and then they add the next coat. And so we'll put on each time, we'll put anywhere between 18 and 20 coats of sugar shell. At the very first, we're putting a white coat on, and the white coat's like a primer coat. And that way, when we start to put the colors on the second shift, they come out very beautiful and bright and exactly what we want. So our candy has anywhere between 20 and 40 coats of sugar shell. After that process, we take the candy out in 100-pound baskets, 300 pounds in a stack of baskets, and they go into the mixing room. And each pan has a separate color. So what they have to do is, if we're making Christmas or Valentine's mix or any kind of a mix, they have to be hand mixed in 1,000-pound containers. And so once they get that mix of product, those containers, those bins, 1,000-pound bins, are then taken into the packaging area where they're placed on top of a bagging unit, or if we're doing bulk, we're doing 5-pound bags. If we're doing gusseted bags, it goes into a gusseted bag machine. Or if we're doing tubes, it'll go into a tube filling machine or hand filling of tubes and processes of hand filling bags even. So once it gets to the packaging area, it's pretty much complete process. And then from there, it goes into cases or it goes into cartons, and it's shipped all over the United States, and now actually it's starting to go into Abu Dhabi in the Middle East. So we're very fortunate that all our candy's made here in Reno. We can proudly put Made in America, Made in the USA on all our boxes. Our facilities are peanut-free, gluten-free, non-GMO. We're SQF Level 2 audited, so we have one of the most high-end, it's audited processing facilities in the United States, and we're very proud to be in Reno, Nevada. I also want to tell you about Casey's Best of the West. And that is part of Kimmy Candy, where we have a retail store where you can come in and taste all the candies you want for free. And you can also buy things there. And we actually have a lot of candies that you can't find easily in Reno, from Enstrom's and from Jelly Belly. And once you get watching the tour on the video screen, you actually can be eating candy and having a good time. Kimmy Candy is located on Edison Way, 405 Edison. We're right next to the TMCC campus. Can't miss us. And please come in and visit us and eat some of our delicious gluten-free, peanut-free candy that we make here in Reno.